Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and there have been some interesting developments regarding tournaments in Wizard101. The developers have confirmed that they're looking to bring these back in the summer update, so we can finally look forward to that. I did make a video on this quite a while ago, where I talked about like how tournaments could start to revive PvP as sort of a less, I guess, like tough to get into form of PvP, and also just generally having better rewards. Like before in tournaments, they would just give like a bunch of arena tickets and maybe some warlords words here and there. But I have talked about before how tournaments could give stuff that you'd see on the battle pass. Like if I were to go here, it's like there's a bunch of rewards that we got. So stuff like this, you know, just a bunch of event spell elements. I think that would be perfect for tournaments to have. Some gold is also kind of nice. Gold boost elixir, don't really care about that. But you get the idea. It's like tournaments could bring back some life to the arena, and there would be more people playing it. More people would be playing like new PvP type of deal, and it could all be nice and peachy. But the problem that I have seen so far is that the rollout is not going to be what everybody and their dog and their mom and their friends, cousins, grandpa would actually want from tournaments. I've got the feed up just on my other monitor, and yeah, there's been quite a bit of talk about, like from the devs especially. Like Ratbeard has been talking about this a lot as of late in the official Discord, in the PvP tournaments text channel, and basically what's going on, and he talked about this at a roundtable recently as well, but when they bring back tournaments, they're only gonna do, or this is what they're saying at least, they're only gonna do one per week on like a Friday night. And I was talking to him earlier myself, and I was asking like, yeah, you know, what are we doing here? Like, could we maybe, I don't know, do some more tournaments per week, or like maybe once a day, that type of deal, and then just have a bunch on the weekends. And he basically told me, like, he said that super, I guess, inflammatory comment about only hosting once a week on Friday nights to gather feedback from the community. Well, we've provided feedback. I mean, it's the ball's in his court now. He hasn't ever really been receptive to feedback, as many of us here on the channel know, but this time around I don't actually know his stance on it. Maybe he wants to see more tournaments. I was talking to him also earlier about whether there should be just more tournaments in general, or have the less frequent tournaments have more players, and I told him I wanted to see just more tournaments because back in 4th Age, if y'all were there were some tournament modes, like especially the team ones, where it was like 2 to 3 hours, just nightmares, and that is something that I know I want to avoid. I know the devs want to avoid. So in saying that, I think I might have gotten through to him if he was thinking about sticking to that once a week type deal. Maybe he's not anymore, which would be quite a boon. I would love to see more tournaments just in general. But there was another thing that he was talking about on Sunday night. He was talking with Shadow, one of the mods in that Discord, and he was talking about, I guess he mentioned at the roundtable that the once a week tournaments type deal that he was originally considering, it could be more now, but those tournaments would be like, they would have special set, I guess, rules, and by rules I mean like you have to be a captain or above the queue, and in certain scenarios. So it's like, if that ends up being the case and it's rank locked, because Ratbeard has expressed interest to get people to play ranked PvP more than tournaments. Like, he doesn't want to see people just playing tournaments. He wants to make it more casual, but at the same time, it's like he's also sort of locking more casual people out. So yeah, as well as people who don't even play that much, like myself. Like I don't really play that much PvP. I'm like, what rank am I? 1608. I don't play enough on my def. I really do not. But for example, I would not be able to join a tournament that is captain or above just because I really just haven't played that much. And that's what it really comes down to. So if it ends up being the case that these tournaments, even if they are hosted more often, if they have like rank locks type deal, it's like that would just be creating another barrier to entry on top of the raid gear, the pack gear, right, the like perfect pets and perfect pet bodies, that type of deal, like stat mounts and just general knowledge of how to set up your deck. It's like there's already all this about like just trying to get to the rank that you need to be to even participate, and most people won't. So we'll see how it goes. We will see how that goes. And the last thing that I really wanted to talk about in this video was the fact that they are considering adding an old school quote-unquote type tournaments. And there is a thread created by Ratbeard himself in the PvP tournaments channel as well, and he's been talking about, like, he says it's for, discussion of old school tourneys, whatever that means, and he's gotten some feedback, and myself and James the Ace, we have been doing quite a bit to try and convince him that what we mean by we want to see an old school tournament is we want to see like September, October, first half of November 2020 PvP, where you could use, pre-enchanted cards, you could use a lot of other cards that are now banned. It's like that type of deal. And we like the chaos of back then, and I think that like it would be like I would participate in those tournaments. I would upload content of those tournaments for all of y'all to watch, just so my newer fans who haven't watched my old content from that time, 2020, like I would want to show y'all what it was like back then, in the best way that I can, I guess, in the new age. There have been people trying to sabotage this effort. There's a guy who has been talking about, we should bring back mantles, which, I'm hoping Ratbeard is not weighing this very obviously sarcastic joke comment the same as he's weighing feedback from people like myself and James who actually played back then. There's also people in that channel who just don't play PvP, like trying to their heart's in the right place, but like respectfully they shouldn't really be giving input. It's like there's no nice way to say that, but if you don't play the game, please stay out of it, because these devs have been known to, take feedback from privates, or recruits now as they're called. Like, the whole reason why I quit is because they thought pre-enchanted cards were a barrier to entry to privates. So that's why I quit back in 2020, and it's like the basis for a lot of the changes has been, it's like they have been trying to dumb down a game that they're also trying to make infinitely more complex. It's like a lot of the old stuff is going and a lot of the new stuff is just coming through, and it's more confusing than it was back then. The barrier to entry is far higher. Like, anybody could PvP way back in the day, but now they can't because, Wiz. But in my honest opinion, I do think that tournaments could come back, old school especially, because they're just more casual than ranked, and that was why we all loved it. And unfortunately, more recently, especially like today, Monday rather, where Ratbeard rather has been talking about, should we even implement tournaments at all? Because to him, it sounds like people just want a practice league. A practice league. And for obvious reasons, that makes no sense at all. It's like a practice league. We would still have all of the banned cards. I'm sure I've got deadly minnows from way back when the game was good. It's like stuff like this We wouldn't have like old school tournaments if, you know, old school tournaments just didn't get implemented at all, and they just sort of did whatever with tournaments and that type of deal. But it's like, we want a more casual PvP environment, but not casual to the point where it's literally just practice PvP. And that, I think, has been unfortunately misconstrued by Ratbeard here. We want... It's like, practice PvP is the ultimate casual type deal. It's like, you can do strat testing in there, you can test out different gear setups, you can just go against your friends in practice. That's the whole point of practice. It is a non-competitive type deal with no drawbacks, I guess, to play in, but there's also no rewards for practice. And for tournaments, it's sort of like there were no drawbacks, right? You could sign up for them for like however much gold. Like these used to be something like 20k before they got changed to 50 in 2020, but it's like, if it's really that serious, if they are really that opposed to making a low risk, high reward, and more fun PvP system, they could just up the cost. And yeah, it's like you could add your gold to a pot, that type of deal, and like the winner would get all of it. I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, it is very clear that if old school tourneys get added, it will be like begrudgingly so on Ratbeard's part. He has made his stance on this known. He has openly mocked everybody who just wants the game to be fun again, as he does in his typical fashion. So I don't think I'm optimistic. I think it's like, when you look at the title of the video, it's like, are tournaments doomed? And I think that tournaments, I would say, aren't doomed yet, but it's all up to this execution, and I wouldn't be surprised if they crashed and burned. That's what I'm gonna say. It's like, they've got to figure out the rewards. If the rewards are meat, obviously nobody's gonna play it. If the gameplay is meat, obviously nobody's gonna play it. Like, I know people who would play an old school league with no rewards, like just for content even. It's like, I would be so down to go against James the Ace in old school PvP. Just for like a video in 2024 for that, and it's like for no rewards too, and like I'd be so down for that. I bet he would be down for that. But that in and of itself needs to be executed correctly. If, you know, Ratbeard listens to the trolls who say they want 2019 and prior PvP with, you know, first and second mantles, you know, juju spam. It's like, that was the whole thing way back. But if the trolls win here, and us, like the actual real people who play the game, like lose on this, and like we can't even make the decision. So it's up to the devs to not listen to the trolls, which their track record on that hasn't been great. But if the trolls win, we get a bad game mode that nobody is going to play, and then the devs' interpretation of that is, oh, well, we made this old school tournament mode that, and nobody's playing it, so in your face, haha, nobody really liked old school PvP after all, and then add like 10 more gambits and goofy Rochambeau spells, and maybe like even more raid gear. I heard like the new raid is going to have a square, or well, yeah, a square, but also a circle tag that gives pip conserve. So they're just gonna keep doing their thing. It's like, if this backfires, they need to know that there is a community that does still enjoy old school PvP, would want to see it back. It's just up to them to not botch the implementation. So that's sort of where it's all at. That's where we're at. I'm hoping that the implementation this summer goes well. I'm hoping that the tournaments themselves run a little more often than once per week, and overall, I'm looking forward to this update with bated breath. I've got cautious optimism, as I usually do when I hear something like tournaments are coming back. So, best case, it's not botched. Worst case, it's unplayable. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. I've been iSchool. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more. And I will see y'all later.